Hello and welcome, Solo Guy here. Today I want to go into something very different. I want to show you guys an unboxing of Final Fantasy games, Star Wars Imperial Assault. I already did an unboxing. Problem was that the image was completely out of focus the entire time. The video was unwatchable. So I'm doing it again. This is a take two. But I wanted to show you because I thought this would be a really cool experience. And some time ago I went to my friend's house, we played different games. He said, hey, we could play Armada, we could play Rebellion, we could play Imperial Assault. I said, oh, you know what, let's try Imperial Assault. So we ended up playing a campaign game using an app that was included at the Final Fantasy game's website. So, and I absolutely fell for it. But this is the back of it, just to give you guys an idea. So, it's a game of legendary Star Wars adventure and tactical miniatures combat between 1 to 5 players. Now, the thing is, I've already taken it apart. I've already sorted things out and packaged it, but I do want to show you guys, so I'm going to put that off to the side and show you guys some of the things here. So one of the things is that there's 3 main modes that you have here. One, you could go head to head, where one person's the Imperial player and 1 to 4 players can take the role of a hero, and you would get a hero card as part of a campaign. And the thing is that every hero, they've got stats on there like health and endurance and speed and defense die. We'll talk about that. Now they also have their own special abilities, and depending what kind of character they are, the character does have a name, okay, and on the bottom there's feats of strength, feats of observation, feats of technical expertise, and they use colored squares to represent the kind of dice that they use there. Now, if a character ends up exceeding their regular health, they're not dead yet, at least in the campaign game, but they do flip over to the wounded side, so you can look at the spatter and the background of the character, and that gives you an idea. It kind of restricts what the character can do. It does lower their capabilities as well. Now, in the box, I'm going to set that off to the side. Now, in the box, you have 4 different books, but this is looking at what they're capable of, what are they covering. Now, the rules reference guide is great if you don't remember some of the technical terms that they talk about. You can open it up and you can look at, okay, what is the definition of a blast? How does the attribute tests work? You know, things like that. So it's kind of like a rule summary in a way. This is another mode that you can have. So I said you could go head to head. So one person's the Imperials, the other person are the other person or persons, they're the rebel heroes, and that's part of a campaign mode. Now there's another campaign mode where you play cooperatively against the computer app. It's a little bit different in terms of storyline and some of the things that happen, but the missions are basically the same. This is the third one. This is the third game mode that they talk about. It's the skirmish guide, which basically has the same basic rules as your campaign type modes, except there are some differences, and you create an army based off of however many, like 40 points. You get command cards, and this just tells you how things work out there. And of course they give a thing for X-Wing miniatures game. I don't know which version that is, if it's version 1 or version 2. Here, the Imperial Assault, Learn to Play. This is a very simple book. I can't get out all the pieces. It's jam-packed with pieces. There are third-party aftermarket groups that they offer parts that you can go and store. The counters, you can store the cards neatly and organized in the core box. Now, there are a number of expansions, but you have to have the core box if you're going to utilize the expansions. It also shows you how to put together some of the components, like the AT-ST, which, wow, just putting that on the shelf just looks awesome. I have to finish painting it. But the idea is, here, the maps, they're made up of tiles, cardboard tiles. They're numbered. Okay, you get doors, you get computer terminals. Okay, you get crate markers. There's markers to indicate if you're wounded or you're stunned. Okay, if you're strained. There's a lot of things that are going on in here. But once you get the hang of it, it goes pretty straightforward. They actually take you through a tutorial setup and they'll have you walk through it. Okay, if you do it on the free app that is available on the Fantasy Flight Games website, they will also take you through it. There is another program, and the difference with that, there's a little bit more ambience, a little more fancy graphics, but it doesn't allow you to save between missions, whereas the FFG's app, they allow you to save for campaign missions, so like your characters can acquire better weaponry, better armor, things like that. So it just goes through, it tells you how to read the cards of the character. Okay, what does it mean? What do you do? Okay, it's pretty straightforward. It's colorful. It's well illustrated here. You also have, the threat marker, threat indicator, which we haven't used, my friend and I, because we use the app, and I've played it solo with the app. Okay, I also did the skirmish solo. It's cool. I am going to say, I know a few years ago they still had like the international world championships of this. So there's a whole thing about what you can do here. And again, you have a chance to explore the Star Wars universe. This does tie in with some of the other things in Star Wars. So originally it's supposed to start just after the Battle of Yavin, where the first Death Star destroyed, but they actually expanded the time range, that they included the timeline of Star Wars Rebels, the animated series. So you have those characters in there as well now. There are markers in the core box, but they're like little circle markers, counters, if you will. You can purchase the figures separately. Some of the expansions, they'll have some of the characters. Other expansions, it's a separate pack, depending. But again, each pack has their own little extra goodies. This is the campaign guide. So this is just looking at the core box, and it explains a little bit about some of the counters, but then it gives you the scrolling. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead. I got to read the scrolling because it's just so cool. Anyways, it's called Imperial Assault. Victory. With the destruction of the Death Star, the rebellion has given hope to a galaxy living in fear. Having lost their ultimate weapon, the Empire scrambles to recover in the face of this crushing defeat. As the scattered fragments of the battle station rain down upon the rebel base on Yavin 4, the Empire sets in motion a plan to seek retribution against rebel forces stationed on the small moon. Not long after, when an Imperial beacon begins to broadcast from an outpost some distance away from the rebel base, a small team of elite operatives is dispatched. Their mission, to silence the signal at all costs. Guess who's part of that small team of elite operatives? It's your heroes. So this is the way to start. This is the way to begin a campaign, and it goes through, it technically the Rebel player isn't supposed to read this, but the Imperial player is supposed to know about all this. If you use the app, it will tell you how to set things up. It is the app, the original app, Legends of the Alliance, that has been created by FFG, so it does go in line with what you see here. So wow, it's an action-packed thing, and then you're saying, well, what else do you have in there? Well, like I said, there are many, many cards. It would take a while to go through everything, and I put everything in plastic bags. Again, you also have a Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker ally pack that's already included, so that's cool. They are not heroes, though. They appear in campaign games as allies, so they don't have the same status as heroes, and there is a difference between how heroes function and how the allies function as well. Okay, but again, Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker, they have their own maps, they have their own skirmish mission, their own campaign game, okay, and it shows you the setup, it gives you the background, and all that wonderful stuff, okay. Now, the tiles themselves. Oh, this is just an example, again, showing you guys how they organize it. The tiles are fairly thick cardboard, and it is like a jigsaw puzzle piece, so they can be put together in different ways. The front that you're seeing there is tile 19B from the core set, and it sure looks like a trash compactor area. Where did we see that one before? If you flip it on the other side, it is not a trash compactor, but it is, you know, a scene probably inside a spaceship somewhere in there. There are other tiles, some of them represent corridors, okay? So here's one that is kind of a corridor, just to give you guys an idea. It's jungle on one side, it's kind of more abandoned desert looking on the other side. So there's many, many setups that you can do. There's, oh goodness, there's probably about 39 different kinds of tiles. Some of the tiles are really large, some of them are relatively small. So you got quite a variety. If you go by the expansions, then what's going to happen is you'll have even more of a collection in there. I also wanted to show you the figures that come with it, and I started to work on the figures themselves. So there are some figures I'm in the process of working. Not all of them are done. It's a work in progress, and with that, just to give you an idea, I do have some. So I have stormtroopers, for example. I'm going to bring that a little bit closer here so you can see. Okay, so you have some stormtroopers here, and I colored them purple because on the app there's like a purple group that you can put them on. Now again, they're monopose, but still they look very, very cool. The original color of the plastic is like a tan. Okay, so here's an example of the these guys here. They're gray for the Imperial. They're tan if they are the Rebel. Okay. And of course, some of them, like here's Garkin. It's kind of hard to see. Let's see. Maybe I can. There we go. Maybe I can. Here's Garkin. I know I don't have the world's best lighting, but yeah, so there's quite a few figures in the set. As you are buying expansions, there's going to be some more figures in there. You got probe droids, you've got stormtroopers, you've got Darth Vader, you've got Imperial officers. You also have the creature created by the Geo guys. They're called a Nexu. Snarling, ugly creature. But then you have your heroes. Now, in this core set, you have 6 heroes. They have their strengths and abilities. Of course, they have different names. So you can, I mentioned about the cards here earlier. So again, you can paint them. You can try to paint them as they are on the card. You don't have to. Nobody says you have to. Okay. But with that, I do need to show the piece. And I got to point out, it's not done. It's nowhere near done yet. That's this bad boy. Yeah. An ATST. That's really cool. I like it. There is an expansion with General Weiss and his own ATST. So it's in the middle of being painted up. So that's why it doesn't look, pretty. But it just has that imposing presence on there. Okay? So with that, throw a few stormtroopers out there on a map. It's just, wow, this looks good. Now again, could you use this for Legion, Star Wars Legion? It's not the same scale, but I don't think that's the worst thing on the planet. That would be kind of cool. But yeah, it's really cool, really awesome. And yeah, I would definitely recommend the game. They're not putting out any more expansions for it, so in one respect, some people might think it's a dead game. I wouldn't call it a dead game because there are fans out there. Recently I saw somebody make a oh gosh, they made an expansion for Count, was it either General Grievous or Count Dooku and the Magna Guard in there. So there are fans who are going to go and work this stuff out, and who knows, maybe Fantasy Flight Games will pick that up again one day. Hard to tell, but it's exciting. You don't have to buy all the, you don't have to buy all of them. Again, it's depending what interests you. Okay. Other than that, that's it. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you found some benefits for it. If you enjoy Star Wars, this is definitely a way to go. I know as far the one thing I forgot to mention was the dice. I knew I forgot something. And I knew I forgot something. So I do put away the pieces in these let's see. Okay. So again, you've got these dice here. These are the basic colored dice that you have. There's 11 dice in the set, so I'll bring those up a little closer for you guys to see. Okay, that's all you really need. Now, they do sell an app where you can roll these. You tell them what color and how many, and then you roll. You've got numbers, you've got hit markers, you've got surge markers. All that's explained in the rules. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And like I said, that way when you have different characters with different weapons or different close combat abilities, you roll whatever color dice that it is, while the defender has to roll either a black or a white dice. So, with that, I'm going to stop here, because like I said, this has been awesome, but I did go ahead and buy another expansion. I'm going to have to do this one another day. The Return to Hoth. I always loved Empire. The Empire Strikes Back. The Battle on Hoth scene alone was worth it. So, with that, that's basically it. And it's a lot for a game. I'm going to tell you right now. But honestly, this thing is definitely, I think, withstood the test of time. I think you got a lot of fans out there, and people are still enjoying it. They are still selling it. So if you're interested, you can get it. You have got plenty alone in the core box just to keep you busy. But if you want to expand, you can. Hey, I hope this benefited you guys. You guys take care. Have a good day. God bless you. Solo Guy out.